The primary purpose and function of the Moose Hide campaign is to raise awareness of the responsibility of men as it relates and pertains to violence against women.
Violence against women and children in First Nation communities is an important issue that we as men need to be concerned about, because there's too many instances that we either hear about in the media, that we hear about in our neighboring communities, that we see in our own communities.
In many communities like Glasgow, where I'm from, there's a lot of violence that's unseen by the general public because the females stay at home and the kids take it to school with them.
I grew up on a reserve, and there was violence. I witnessed violence many times, and it was mainly associated with drinking. It had a lasting impression on me in terms of the negative impacts of violence and how it can tear apart families, how it can destroy relationships and have long-term impacts. I found it's intergenerational, that it seems to, the children grow up with a likelihood of being violent themselves if they witnessed it as children, as being something that was acceptable.
As a health manager in every community, they see the violence, they see the drug abuse, they see the alcohol abuse, and most of us see the poverty state that they're living in, and the dad or whoever's doing the violence against the women or the children is frustrated. No work, 95% unemployment rate. It's heartbreaking because we go to their household, we go to look in their fridge, look in their cupboards, there's no food, and the dad gets a little bit of money, he goes inside just to drink and comes home drunk and abuses his wife.
It wasn't always like that. And I think that our values and teachings from our elders are still alive, and I come from a background where we honored the woman, in particular with the coming of age, where chiefs would wash the feet of the coming of age. That's how much respect that they had for the coming of age and for womanhood.
I mean, after all, the women, they are so fundamental. They're giving birth to our children and to all the generations. So they are the center of love in the family.
Violence against women is an important issue because it's real, it exists, and it has a very diminishing effect on wellness of individuals, families, communities. And unless something is done about it very specifically, it will continue and really diminish the capacity of First Nations to be well.
Men are not very good, how do you put this, nurturers, and they don't really share stuff. And that's part of the issue, right, is that we have to be able to step forward and show that we're human beings. When we hurt, we hurt. And be able to share that with each other. Say, look, this is what happened, and have a way to sort of build a sort of understanding and support each other. Because I think that's part of the issue is, I think a lot of men, when they stand up with these, they feel that they stand alone. And I think what men have to do is say, no, I'll stand with you.
I think about the old days when there was a different environment and people didn't just talk about things. If they did something about it because it was the right thing to do. We don't do that on a regular basis anymore, and we need to do that. We need to be open and upfront about what actually is reality in each of our communities. And if violence exists, then we need to address that. And there's a core reason behind some of that violence. Let's address that. Let's change the environment. Let's change the values. Let's change the teachings so that we start moving away from this human aspect that is not really, comes from, it's a learned behavior that really we need to break that down.
I wanted to do my part in supporting this campaign because it's so important just to support the need for change in violence against women and children. But it goes beyond that. As First Nations people, as Aboriginal people, we have a long path before us of healing and reclaiming our lives. And we have to start somewhere. And I think this is a great place and a great way to start.
I challenge you to take a stand against violence.
I challenge you to take a stand against violence.
I challenge each and every one of you
I challenge you.
I challenge you
And I challenge you all
To get involved in the Moose Hide campaign.
to break the cycle of violence in our communities.
To honor the women in our communities.
We need a commitment by each and every one of you to help resolve this serious problem.